Okay, I'd like to call to order our regular town board meeting for tonight, February 9th. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve our prior minutes from the reorganizational meeting. May I have a second? All in, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I'd like to announce that we are still looking for another candidate for our planning board. We also need CAB, Conservation Advisory Board members. We need people for our Rec Committee, and we need one candidate for our Board of Assessment Review. I also want to thank our emergency service workers, our fire department chiefs and all of the firefighters, and our highway department. These 24-hour storms are tough on the crews, the town, county, and state, and the guys, the workers are often out hours before they plow. They have to treat, plow, clean up. It's multiple passes, sometimes, 24 hours at a stretch. So thank you. Any other announcements from anyone? I'd like to open our public hearing for a local law authorizing enforcement of provisions of Dutchess County for our enhanced 9/11 sign laws. Is there anybody from the public who would like to comment? Hearing no comment, I'd like to adjourn this public hearing until our next meeting on February 23rd. Alan, did you want to say anything, or you want to wait until the 23rd? Want to tell people what's going on?
There was a slight misunderstanding between the provisions of the law we're going to pass and the county law and the New York State Building Code. The New York State Building Code calls for 4-inch numbers on the houses. The county law calls for 3-inch numbers. The building code takes precedence, from what I can tell, and our law will say 4 inches. The county laws, that my understanding is being amended to include 2 provisions that are not there yet that we have in our law, that we will have in our law, namely the idea that if a mailbox is on the opposite side of the street from the driveway, it's insufficient to mark the driveway. It's got to have, the driveway's got to be marked on the.
It is not sufficient.
Adjacent, a driveway has to be marked by an address marker adjacent to the driveway.
So if somebody has a mailbox across the road, they can leave it there and put a number marker in near there?
That's right. I mean, one of the problems we saw was that you'll see a cluster of mailboxes that are odd and even on all together, and you can't tell what's what, so you really need to mark the driveways. And I understand the county law is being modified to show that. And the second thing is the idea of driveways that go to more than one numbered structure. You have to, when the driveway forks, or if there's any question about which way to go for a numbered structure, there ought to be a sign that directs the emergency vehicle to the corrected direction. Again, that'll be in the county law. That's really about all I wanted to say.
I just want to also state for the public that we were asked to do this by our emergency services coordinators and our fire chiefs. So this is something that we've been asked for by the fire departments and our emergency service coordinators here in Rhinebeck.
And as a matter of fact, a couple of people that do deliveries of food, who's, not that that's some, reason to pass a law, but people that make deliveries in the town have been complaining to me, at least, about the fact that they have a hard time finding many addresses.
Yeah, and this, I just want to be clear, it's in response to a request by our emergency services, so it's not, it's something that I think is important to do, so thank you. So we've adjourned this until our next meeting when we have a slightly revised law, and we'll proceed.
Just one question. There's going to be a new mailing, right? Because the initial mailing did not have the back of the...
That's right.
is that new mailing going to go out after our hearing and adoption of it, or is it going to go out before?
I'm not sure.
Maybe it's better that it go out after.
Too late.
What?
Too late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. By the way, that new mailing is not being done at the expense of the town. It's being done because the vendor that did it screwed up by not copying both sides of the document.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay. I'd like to open up a public hearing enacting a further one-year moratorium on the implementation of provisions of our Section 125-16 of the Town of Rhinebeck Code relating to green building standards for a period of 1 year. I'm opening the public hearing if anybody would wish to comment. And not hearing any comment, I would like to adjourn this until our March 9th Town Board meeting. We need to get comments back from the County Planning Department on this. We have a presentation tonight from Dan Miller from the New York State DEC on the bulkhead habitat design. Thanks for coming out in the snow, Dan.
Yes.
Thanks for having me come out. I will be brief. Last time we met, I promised I would come back in February to give you an update on our design process. Thank you for the resolution of support that you supported last time I was here. I think all of you should have just a brief document that identifies progress to this point. We have preliminary designs in hand from Stevens Institute of Technology down in New Jersey. We've received some permit guidance from our habitat protection staff within DEC, and we've actually had some coordination with the vessel Clearwater. I met with Annika Sevilla, who is the captain of Clearwater, and met her down at the bulkhead, and we talked about the project. We reviewed the preliminary designs, and she saw no interference with their activities down there, and expressed her support for the project. The next steps, which will be happening over the next month or 6 weeks, will be to finalize that design, to actually get it down on paper, complete the permit review. It's going to go in for a jurisdictional review, but there probably will not be a permit required from DEC because of the fact that it's not on the bottom and it's in a relatively small project. Then we go to fabrication and installation, hopefully by March. If you want to just take a quick look at the schematics or pictures that I'd shown you, that first one on page 2 is the existing conditions. You'll notice that there's a steel band already welded across 2 of the outboard faces of that bulkhead. We basically want to put 4 more of those steel bands onto the bulkhead, so it would be pretty much exactly like that. So it wouldn't be any added, it would be added material, but it wouldn't be any added hazard to it. The next 2 pictures, the bottom one on that page, and then the graphic on the following page, on page 3, give you a general idea of the design that we've come up with. It's going to include that steel band, which is going to hang the unit, and then there'll be what they're calling a stem, another steel band that hangs down off it, forming a sort of a T shape, and then off of that, the boxes will recess into the interior of the bulkhead. There will be bolts on the exterior of that. One of the things that we had talked about in the resolution is that there would not be anything protruding out. We played with the design as much as we could. It was a real challenge to make it completely flush and yet something that was going to hold it really tight and stable while there were waves. So we settled on having a series of bolts that will hold that stem and band together. It will be nothing more than the mooring rings that you see identified in that first page, that first picture there that we noticed the last time we were out there. You have these mooring rings that have the same sort of bolts sort of holding those on. So it'll be nothing additive to that, or you know, won't be sticking out any further than that. So that was something for you all to consider and to think about. We will be getting the final designs in hopefully by Friday, and I'll be happy to forward them to John to distribute to the board. And if you want to pass them around to anyone and get some comments on it, we would really appreciate that. We want to make sure you're comfortable with what we're doing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for updating us. Does anybody have questions or comments?
I have one.
Sure.
What kind of metal is this?
It's going to be steel. It's going to be the same grade steel as the sheet pile itself. So it'll be at least Tim Feeney over at Feeney Shipyard is going to be fabricating it for us. He's
Some of the bolts?
the steel, the bolts. We may end up going with stainless steel because we want to be able to thread them on and off. They'll be expensive for us to purchase stainless steel, but we want something that we can thread on and off easily at the beginning and the end of the year.
I'm worried about the galvanic.
Oh, galvanic response, yeah.
Yeah, because those sheets are thinning out rapidly.
They are already, okay. Again, I'm going to rely on, I'll forward that concern to Tim, but I'm going to rely on his expertise in fabricating and maintaining these things for a very long time to make sure that we don't have that sort of problem. I'll write that down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for updating us.
Thank you.
See you in the warmer weather.
Hopefully.
Next time, don't promise to come in February.
Yeah. Committee and liaison reports. Does anybody have, I want to talk about fire departments, but does anybody else have anything?
Well, let me talk about affordable housing for a minute. We have been meeting. We've met with a person who has built some affordable housing in Millbrook, and she does this for a living. What we got from her is basically that if you want a federal or state grant, the criteria for residents would be that the income is below 60% of average median income. And if you set it higher than that, you would not get any state or federal grants, according to her. We're trying to arrange a meeting with a local person who is a builder about rehabbing a existing building, and we're trying to schedule a meeting with a landowner, an institutional landowner, which has some land that conceivably they might be interested in a affordable housing project. The committee wants to have a meeting with Warren to run some ideas by him in light of his draft opinion before we come back to the board. So that's where we are.
When would that be, the meeting with Warren?
I don't know, we have to schedule it. It's not scheduled yet.
Would anybody else like to attend that meeting? Is that something the public should be noticed for, or?
I don't think it requires public.
Well, I'm asking if any other board members want to go. I'm saying we could notice it if anybody else wants to go. Okay. Thank you. Alan, Bruce?
Since last meeting, Jim Baker and I went down to county wastewater. We learned a lot, had a nice meeting. One of the technical person there used to work on our system.
Who is that? Peter?
Oh, Peter McFadden's the head guy, but I forget the name of the other guy. I have it in here. They understand a lot of the problems. They've sent us work cost savings repairs that they've done from other places, some tips on that. So they're helping us. And John and I talked a little bit about the tax issue, and I'm getting Peter to send that. It's in the amendment, supposedly, whatever the code is. So we missed it for this year, but we'll get it for next year.
Okay. And they have I think they have all the information they requested from us. think
You didn't
Joan.
ask for anything else?
No, Joan has pretty much fulfilled every request, so in terms of working towards handing it over to them, I think we've given them everything they've asked for, so we'll touch base with Bridget in a couple of, in a week or so.
Now, I have one other question on that. We have one manhole cover that needs to be replaced, and we can go through a contractor and get it, or we can use a town employee to get it, or I can go and get it. It's, 30-inch, 3-inch thick concrete. I might be able to get it over at Weber.
I think we should have Bob get it.
Well, the other place is Cold Spring. So it doesn't, is that how you want to do it?
I'm fine with you deciding how you want to do
Do it
it.
any way you want.
Yeah, we leave it up to you.
Okay.
Also, we got that email from VRI asking, saying that there was an inexpensive fix to one of the flow meters, and
To rebuild it.
yeah, and I sort of said that was fine with me if that was their recommendation. The $700 sounds a lot better than $3,000 or $4,000. Okay, so you agree with that?
Yeah. But also that the guy
$700 is
in
better than $3,000-4,000.
county, he knows those things inside and out, and he probably could give some guidance to VRI. They were going to be there last Wednesday.
Did you get snowed out?
I don't remember last Wednesday, but
Probably.
yeah, they were going to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning to look over the
Okay,
plans.
all right. I'll follow up with Bridget, and it looks like we're moving along on this.
Let me say a word or two about the shared technology stuff. We met with the village mayor, Heath, and Jim Jeffries of Northeast Computing. This week should be the beginning of installation of the workstations over at the county hall, the village hall, sorry. We still need to get the Laserfiche scanners in. That's for both places. I don't think
No,
we have.
we're good here.
We're good here? Okay. Well, but the application
Our clerks have
hasn't
done
been-
training and everything.
Yeah, we need to install the software and train people. Basically, the end of the grant is 3/31, and I'm using that date as a deadline to keep everybody's feet to the fire, so to speak. And I think we'll finish by
What
then.
about the highway department and,
That's on the list as well.
Okay.
So I've talked to Jim. But I want to get the village hall squared away first, and then we'll,
and we have a meeting on Wednesday, Thursday?
right,
I'm working on a list,
I think it's Wednesday, right?
whatever we're committed to, yeah, it's in
Yeah.
my calendar, on a list from town hall employees of whatever they need to finish up their desks.
Good, okay.
Monitors, keyboards.
That'll help.
Yes. Thank you.
I got a notice, I think it's in connection with this municity grant, of some kind of training session, and I'm not going to it, but I don't know if...
Paula Wolf is spearheading that.
Okay, the
Paula
appropriate people
Tremble.
know about it, maybe Alan
Yeah.
ought to be
Yeah, I
there
knew
if
about
you
it.
know. Okay.
Yeah, it's not ready for, seems to be on top of it and reading her emails. Fire, I have been in touch with Heath Tortorella about, moving ahead with our dissolution of our town fire protection district and the reorganization of the 3 departments. I requested from them the call information from the county, the FRS reports, and they did not give it to us. They only gave us their stuff. So again, I said we need the county stuff. There's a disclaimer on it. So we need the county, do you call them rip sheets or tear sheets or
Now, the
FRS reports?
FRS reports, the rip and runs come first, and then the FRS reports are more complete.
Okay, so we want to be able to go through it and make sure that we're still in the same ballpark for that.
Didn't we get it last time, Bruce, from the fire captains that they could release the data to us?
Yeah, Heath actually downloaded the spreadsheets and emailed them to me.
Okay, maybe we can,
I've asked him several times, so I've gone back and said, this isn't what we asked for, we need the FRS reports. We did get the flow meter testing from some of the hydrants, and, you know, some of them, there are 19 hydrants that we lease from the village, although this says that we own 2 of them, so I don't know why we're leasing things that we own. 19 hydrants. 1 is for the village garage. 2 are not to code and inoperable according to the village. They're tubercular and don't have sufficient pressure for anything. And 1 is in our park. So, okay, that's something that we own. So I'll go back to them and, you know, ask these questions if anybody else has questions. The other thing, you know, and I'll talk to Henry Campbell, and Bruce and I can maybe talk to Chief Asher about all the hydrants on Hiley and North Hinterlands, because these are really water department hydrants that are being charged to the fire protection district, so we have to decide what we want to do about that.
You have 4 of them on that short, or 7 of them, huh? 8.
8, and then the rest of the town has nothing. So if it were for fire, well, we should talk to Chief Asher about it. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Okay. I'd like to make a resolution for Resolution 2015-064 for our accounts payable abstracts, 16 checks totaling $15,756.34. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I'd like to make a motion for our Resolution 2015-065, our preliminary abstract vouchers, checks 146 through 182, 21 checks totaling $45,175.28. May I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
yeah, there's one item here, the first item, card member services, which has a late charge and an interest charge, and at least my understanding was the bank would waive that. So I think we ought to approve this, but with the caveat that Shelley ought to speak to the bank and see if they would waive the late charge and the interest charge. It's the $66.42.
I think Kim got that taken care of today.
Oh, you think they got it waived?
I'll double check with Shelley.
Okay, so
after.
then we should approve it less the $66.42.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2015-066, preliminary capital projects abstracts, 1 check for $225. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Is there any new business?
Yeah, just one thing. We apparently have some money left over from a grant. I think it's about $1,200. This is the same grant.
The waterfront grant?
Yeah. And we're looking for uses of that $1,200. I checked with Bobby, who thought that if we're up to him, he would like to use that money toward the pump at the pool. I don't know if the grant will allow us to do that, but that would be one thing to use it for. If anybody else has any ideas what would be a good use
I
of
thought that it had to be specifically for the waterfront.
I don't know. I'll ask the question.
No?
This is the Saland grant.
Yes.
No. It can be used for anything.
Oh,
So if,
We got the van from it.
yeah,
Right.
if nobody has any other ideas, why don't we try to use it toward the pump at the pool. We certainly need that.
Great.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, I'll
Thank you.
suggest that to Elaine, who's handling it.
Okay. Any public comment on non-agenda items? I'd like to remind everybody that we'll be meeting tomorrow at 6 for a special town board workshop for the proposed mining overlay amendment. So we'll see everybody tomorrow at 6, and I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
Now we get to eat.